Welcome back again here into our single player world. We are in our hometown of Spiritwood, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this place because I have been loving being back home and in a very familiar area, and of course continuing on where we left off from in the last episode, and also where we left off from pretty much when we last were here before that. The last episode of Spiritwood, which was a very long time ago, was the whole changing over of buildings. There is one ugly default. In fact, this is almost a bit of a relic now with the brand new update. But right here is the last remaining building. We can finally finish this once and for all and say we've transformed every single building in this village to what it needs to be. And I think today is going to have to be that day because it's just the one little thing that we have to do before we can move on and say we've completed our main task. Now, today's task is going to be one that's going to solve two of our little problems. This one's going to be good because I want to make a reason to build this house that we're going to be building, and I also want to get ourselves our maps back, which means, how about a cartographer's house? We've got the new blocks, we've got all the new little 1.14 bits and pieces that we can use to make this thing look good and hopefully hold our maps in. And also, I never actually had a proper spot for our maps, so having a proper designated area with our maps would be pretty great. And not to mention, considering we all the way out on, this is the further west of our main island, we're not going to load it in a lot of the time. And if maps and item frames do cause any lag, which I honestly have never experienced much, to be completely fair, but if ever they did, they won't, because it just won't be loaded in whenever we are in this area. It will be loaded in. So it's not a big deal if we were going to be a bit more efficient. I guess we're being efficient by mistake. Now, I want to go back here because this is my thought process with this piece. Right around here, you can see the thing that really sticks out about Spiritwood, quite literally, are these little these little peaks, these ones, these towers. They look pretty interesting and they're very unique to the city over here, this village. And I would like to use some of this over here in this design because this building's off a little bit from the rest of the buildings. And I think maybe we could make this cartographer be a bit of a loner. So I'm thinking maybe we put a little tower in here, maybe up to that height there. And then we build the building around the tower, which will give it its own look. And also I think we could maybe use a few of the colors and the blocks that we've used here previously to work into that one there as well. All right, so kicking off, I think that was too close for how bad I was doing. I had full health before we found that skeleton. Kicking things off, I have thought about this a little bit. And one thing I have thought about is the fact that this over here, and I think I ran into this problem with the one building back there, which is pretty much the same sort of building as this one, where this over here is an odd number of blocks. So if you have a look, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks wide. But then we're on this edge of the wall. And this one here is an even number, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks wide, which is a little bit strange. I always wonder, this is just a thought that comes into my head, because of course we're going to have to fix that problem up, because that is a slight problem. But it always made me wonder whether the people who made these, like I'm guessing this was probably Notch himself maybe making these ones here, but how far we've come with certain little rules and stuff to building, how they might never have crossed the people who literally made the game's mind at all. It's just strange because we've kind of created our own little Minecraft building science of our own, really. But just in general, I mean, these are rules that most people would probably follow when they build stuff in Minecraft. Now, while we're going on here, I'm going to see if I've got the correct amount of blocks, which is good. I've already had to go back for just some of these coral blocks. We're going to try and build one of those exactly like that. But I want to do a little bit of a spin on this one. You see, that one there has got the lights in. It's got a light in there. The others have also got lights in them, some of them. But I want to try putting a bell in there. I think it would look rather cool if we had that there with a bell on top of this house. I think it would be pretty neat. And it also, of course, brings in that 1.14 feel to the game. And I reckon I need to put some of those in there. So we'll see how close I can get this building over here through, how about we go with memory? We'll see how close we can get without messing up. I think I'm probably going to have to mess up at some stage, but it's always fun to try see if I can remember the buildings, which in fact is one of the cool things about this town is we've established this one particular style, and now we don't have to really put in too much energy into thinking about stuff that we're going to be building because we've already got it planned. We just have to slap it down which is rather cool. I think I've got the wrong block there. Yeah, those there. So I'm going to go ahead, put this together. One thing that's kind of cool that I've got my own sort of style with is, as complicated as these things can get, I actually have some rules, which when I look at and then I realize I've broken them, I just go back and follow them, and then I've got them working for me. One of them, and I'll actually just step out. We'll just make all these coral into the dead coral. One of them is when I've got blocks like this, for instance, where I've put a block like that and I put a block like that on the same level, I always like to break it up. I know I don't always do it, but most of the time I try and break that up. So if I put that there, you shouldn't, between that block and that block, see the connection between those blocks. It's just one of those preferences that I have that I've created, but it's really neat because when I actually have to not think about things, I don't have to think about things because it means I've got my rule there and it's established and I can build a little bit quicker. And I don't have to think about how that's going to work because most of the time it just works. Now we've almost got the tower in, and I just wanted to step back and have a look at that. It's kind of funny. I can see the way that it's going to eventually hopefully turn out. I'm going to put a roof in here and then build out that way. Break that one, make it odd again, and maybe put a roof in there, but we'll see how that all goes. Now, do I have... I can hear it. I can hear an endermite here, but I think it's still on the roof. We'll be all right. We'll be cool. Let's see if I can get my ender pearls to work for me. Something around there. It sounds like... There it is. I was going to say, it sounded like it was right next to me. Ooh, nailed it. Perfect. Not like I'm showing off or anything, but that was actually pretty darn impressive. I thought I'd overcooked that one by a mile, but of course, if it didn't work, hey, I get the ability to just not put that in the video, right? But not that it's not that it'll be too exciting if I did put it in anyway. But there we go. We'll put this last little bit onto the tower. I am pretty sure I can just stand on that. There, perfect. So wrong block. Gonna get rid of that. We go 1, 2, and then we just pop this roof on, and then I want to see if we get this bell in, what it all looks like once it's in there together. But here's actually a quick little thing. I've done these roofs a few times, and every time I've done them, someone asks a question or so about them, but they're actually really simple in terms of what I'm doing. So if ever you wanted to add these in, nice little things to your buildings, just to make them have a little bit more interest. I don't know what you'd call it, but either way, I really like these. This is just the way I do it. I put these blocks in, stair blocks upside down, which gives them this neat little flick out that's not right at the bottom. And then we just go and do a very simple thing with a bunch of slabs like that, like not like that, not like that either. Break that one, one of those there, and then we'll just do another little bunch up there and up there. Break that, and stairs up. And you kind of get the picture. If we just did these here and then put one of those in the corner, you see what I mean. Just big block there, and then we've got the one side of this build. I'll just build the other side real quick, but it's actually really simple. And now with this one in, we can add the last little bit on top, the little spiky spire bit. Bam. I think we only go 2. Yep, we only go 2. And then I want to add in the bell, but if it doesn't work, we'll have to do something else if it just looks a little bit silly. Let's go ahead and put these in, which is what we've currently got. If I am correct, I think we've just got 2 of those. Yeah, we've got an oak block in there with one of these down here. And before we had the sea lanterns, but we're going to put the bell in right at the bottom here. Okay, apparently the bell cannot go on the bottom of cobblestone walls. Let's try the bell on the bottom of one of these. Okay, the bell can't go on either of those. Take 3, I guess. Let's go for the bell on the bottom of... I'm pretty sure they can go on the bottom of a block, right? I'm not going crazy. On the bottom of a full block. I feel like that's going to look really stupid. I can already tell this is actually going to look pretty daft. Let's go out to the distance here. I can already tell it's way too small. Yeah, well, it's not as bad as I expected it, but that looks pretty dumb. I think it's too small. I don't know why, but I thought the bell was almost the size of a block, but that is certainly not big at all. All right, I think what I'll do is I'll switch that over to the light, and then we can get started on the rest of this. It's no big deal. I just really hope to get that bell in, which is quite a pity. I might have to do something like that. Maybe one of those on the ground. Maybe if we did one of these, sort of like this well with the bell in the top there, that could work there. Alrighty, I almost forgot to put this in, and I am already messing up. That's what shift is for. Let's hold shift and go around these and not fall off the edge. But I almost forgot to put this little light in which case we would have been stuck with that bell for a bit. But right around here, I've had a go at the roof, and I think what we're gonna have to do, because this is 7 blocks wide, and to get that nice, like, clean look, you see how that's got a very clean look. It's not too big, not too small. That one's a little bit large. In fact, you can see it definitely is, what, 7 blocks wide there, which is what that one there would look like. But the problem with this is it comes out 2 blocks, and it's 7 blocks wide, which won't work for this being too low, because of course if we still came out another block over here and followed that same rule of coming out 2 blocks from where we were at, let's do over there and over there, like that. That's a very far way out, which it actually looks a little bit better with that, but I think it's just going to look really silly when we look from the side. So what I suspect would be a better way of doing this would be to remove this here, and we go 5 blocks wide, which is, I think, a better number to work with. Like over there, where that's 5 blocks wide. That one there would be 5 blocks wide. Most of the buildings would be 5 blocks wide. I think that just makes it a lot more user-friendly. So with this here, when we go 5 blocks wide, I'll just do this now, so I'll mark it. But we're gonna go and use the birch, because I never get to use birch, and in fact, I'm saying that with, of course, a big lie, because we use a lot of birch, but not in this respect, not birch planks and stuff like that. But now we get the opportunity to actually use birch planks and try and get them to work, hopefully, for us in this village. So if we can remove those, we'll put the birch in. I know that was spruce, but the birch is going in over right around when we get here. Yeah. So all the birch we've ever needed. And I think then we can make this house a birch and maybe slightly oak house, which is very strange, but it'll work. Trust me, it'll work. There you are. I just stole a window from the other side of the building, but how does that look there? I mean, I guess I'm cheating if I put spruce in here, but I'm gonna put spruce in here. So if we put spruce in, maybe something there, that does hide a bit of the birch, but it could work. Yeah, it's not gonna work. I'll just leave it as that without the spruce in. Maybe when we add a few textures to the wall, it'll look a little bit nicer. But that over there is the general idea. We'll also cut the roof off a little bit because that's what's still looking silly. So there and there. And then what we'll do is we'll just push back with this roof. Yeah, that's way better. We'll push back with this roof into there, get that piece in, get this other piece in, and there's a few other things I want to do this episode beyond just doing the building, because of course building is fun, but I did say we've got another task over here. And that other task is going to be restoring our maps, which we sadly lost in the pre-release 1.14. I think 1.14.3 pre-release 2 or pre-release 3. We lost our maps, and right now we are in 1.14.3. And it's no pre-release, it's the full version. So we hopefully have got maps working. I should have probably checked if they do, but either way, it's not a big deal. I just thought it would be quite good to just fix it up. And if they don't work, hey, we'll just put them in another time. We've got the building ready for them. Also, have a look while I'm building this. Check this thing out. I went up to where we were the other day and we had a look at the whole island. And I decided to wait there for a few minutes and grab a cup of tea and just sit there and let everything load in. And look how much better it looks without the chunks unrendered and just this perfect screenshot over here. I wouldn't mind going up there, getting a spot that we sit at pretty regularly just to snap a few pictures as we go. I'm probably going to forget, but either way, coming up here just to look at it is so impressive. You don't see this sort of a picture very often, and I thought it would look pretty neat. And I think the only thing that's going to improve on it is when Optifine comes out, and then we can maybe get rid of a bit of the fog and maybe put some shaders on it, although I don't think anything could beat that after that. Here is another update. We've put this roof in, a nice little roof. I'm almost tempted to just leave the house this size, although in the spirit of Spiritwood, we're going to stick with the whole refurbishing village houses, and I'm going to have to do this little L shape over here. And this is where I get a little bit overly creative with what it's been left with. As I say, we're going to go and make it an odd number. But I just thought I'd bring you in here just because there's some things which make this a lot easier. For instance, building this segment as its own little house, where I say I could even just leave it like that and just complete it. I think that's going to help me a lot just in terms of thinking of this next piece, which is going to be a roof angled like that and pushed in that direction. I'm fairly certain just building this one and merging that into it would be way easier than trying to build them both at once. And I think that's a mistake that maybe someone's running into and they might find kind of useful, because trust me, for a long time, I did silly things like that, and you only pick up on them after you've done things like this quite a bit. And it's one of those things that are extremely obvious once you've done it, but it sometimes can take a while to realize you're doing it all that wrong. Here we are on the other side of the world, and I'll tell you, I've done a lot of work on that house, and it's looking pretty darn good right now. I'm just gonna put that on my Elytra really quick because it's map time. We've got to do our maps really quickly, and I've just realized something. While I got here and waited forever for these empty maps, I realized I needed paper for the gunpowder to make them into rockets, so maybe I'll just do this by foot. But I was really planning, yeah, we don't have any paper. That would be where I would have all my paper, so I guess we're actually going to be doing these by foot, which isn't too bad. I just want to check this out. So, bam, first map down. That is the correct size, I think, that we need. And if you remember the old maps, I used to love just going around and checking out all the places that we update as we update them, and it looked really cool to see those. But sadly, of course, the whole maps being deleted thing kind of ruined that one. But I think this should, actually, the creepers can spawn in here. Let me just check this out. I think this should be all right. Just go around, finish all these up. Why is this one not actually finishing up? Am I too far? I must be too far south. But there we go. We'll get all these in. We're back in Spiritwood, and I have got 20 maps that have been done here. I've laid them out in order as well to make our life a little bit simpler when we get to it. But that was actually not that bad, I must admit. The traveling by foot thing on that island really makes that island feel a lot smaller than it really is, because you ender pearl across a few chunks at a time, and you pretty much finish the map off as you go. But here we go. I've already noticed a missing block. Ignore that. But right here, this is what we're looking at. Our brand new cartography house, and I think it looks pretty quaint. I'm pretty happy. The piece over here is what we added on since the last time, this whole other house. And oh no, 2 blocks. Look at that. Look at that shoddy building, I will tell you. The inside roof is not completed either, so, the ceiling. But look at that, just from a distance. It's very unique, and I like that. It sticks to the theme and also has its own look to it, which I'm very happy with. Now, one thing I haven't looked at quite, well, I did look at it, but I didn't look at it critically, was from here, when we go out to this side, does that fit in with the rest of the village? Even though it's obviously to the side. Yeah, I think that does. I think that works, and it does feel like it's its own thing. So let's go in. I'll show you what I've done on the inside, because I'm pretty happy with it. It's not too over the top, but it does look pretty good. So we walk in here. I found a spot for the bell temporarily. You can see what I mean. I need to do the ceiling over here, so that's a future me problem. But as we go down here, I had to go down for a few reasons. We're going to be putting in a few more maps. I've also put this little fireplace and a few other things in. We're going to be putting in a few maps in here. For instance, we'll have our main island. Any other future stuff we'll do, we might do a more zoomed out version of the world. So we have to get all those things in. And I thought having something like this where we could easily break a wall down and go out in another direction and go out in another direction when we run out of space, that will work quite well. And this could serve as a map room for the future. You know what I mean? I think that's a pretty good idea. So let's go ahead, put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just thinking, is this the correct direction? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. All right, so right here, I think I went 1. Let's just put these all together, because last time I tried to do this, I remember I had all my maps missing, well, in the wrong spots, and it was horrible. I had to go do a little bit of a puzzle just to get my maps to work. Well, there we go. We're already messing up. 1 there, 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 and there. You get the process. It's pretty much just 1 for 1 for 1 for 1 for 1. And it's actually quite enjoyable just seeing this kind of print out as it goes. In fact, this is one of those things. There are a few things in Minecraft that are incredibly satisfying. Watching your maps get completed, fantastic. Watching sand fall, another one. Watching grass grow, not even kidding, it is. When you watch grass grow in time lapse specifically, that is immensely satisfying. Trees despawning in massive numbers, satisfying as well. There are a few things, you know what I'm saying, for sure. There are a few things in Minecraft that you just can't beat, and those things are, well, this is one of them, and those all are. But right here is the map. It looks a little bit less interesting than the last one that we did, that whole bird's eye view, but man, that looks pretty darn good. Sadly, I need to go digging to find our name tags for each of these areas, because before we used to have a name tagged banner over here which said, or well, named banner that said the names of where these places were. And it's not really too big of a deal. I do like the names on there, so we'll eventually go through and do that. As a matter of fact, we could even do one map plain and one map with the names on it. There's so many things we could do. It really is up to whatever we get up to, really, of course. So our next plans for this village are to make this into a 1.14 village by moving in some villages and hopefully not getting them destroyed by pillagers. And I think that we're probably going to run into a few problems like that. So in the next episode, I think we will be in Spiritwood again. I am loving this place, having a good time, and I wouldn't mind to continue loving this place and having a good time in the future episodes. So thank you very much for joining me here today, guys. I hope you are enjoying the episodes here in Spiritwood again. I really am. It really is very nostalgic coming back here. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.